So, you might have noticed the Rohingya crisis is back in the headlines. And you're probably wondering, after all this time, why now? What's suddenly happening? Well, it's all because of a huge, first-of-its-kind conference at the United Nations, a major new push that's put the fate of over 1 million stateless people right back on the world's priority list. And today, we're going to break down this entire issue for you, what it is, how it began, and what this new hope for a solution is all about.
And this right here, this quote from Muhammad Yunus, the head of Bangladesh's government, he's hit the nail on the head, hasn't he? It's so simple but so powerful. The problem started in Myanmar, and the solution has to be found in Myanmar. That's pretty much the whole story in one sentence, and it sets the stage for everything we're about to discuss.
Okay, so here's how we're going to tackle this. First, we'll look at this new call for action. Then we'll get into the basics, who and what this crisis is all about. We'll trace the history, look at the situation on the ground, the global response and all its challenges, and finally, what the path forward could even look like.
All right, let's start with the latest developments, the news that's making waves right now. It all centers around this bold new plan presented at the UN by Bangladesh's leader, Muhammad Yunus, to finally try and sort this crisis.
Look, this wasn't just some regular UN meeting where people give speeches and nothing happens. No, this was a proper high-level conference proposed by Bangladesh. They came with a full 7-point plan. This was a deliberate move to, shake things up and force everyone to pay attention again. They're demanding not just talk, but actual concrete action.
Okay, so before we dive deeper into that plan, let's just take a step back. To really get why this is such a big deal, we need to understand the basics. What exactly is the Rohingya crisis, and who are the people at the center of it all?
So here it is in a nutshell. And let's be very clear, this is not a natural disaster. This is a man-made tragedy. It's about one group of people, an ethnic Muslim minority, being systematically targeted, kicked out of their homes, and this is the crucial part, being made stateless, with no country to call their own.
And these 4 points, they're all connected in this horrible, vicious cycle. See, it starts with making them stateless, with that 1982 law. Once you're not a citizen, it becomes easy to persecute you. Control where you go, who you marry, if you can study, and that persecution then boils over into these brutal military crackdowns, forcing them to flee. The UN even called it ethnic cleansing. It's a step-by-step process of erasure.
Now, a lot of people think this whole thing just suddenly started in 2017, but that's not the case at all. The violence we all saw on our screens then was just the latest, most horrific chapter in a story that's been going on for decades.
Just look at this timeline. It shows a clear pattern. A build-up over years. Right after independence, they're excluded. Then in 78, Operation Nagaman, 200,000 flee. Then the big one in 82, that Citizenship Law we talked about. Then again in the 90s, another 250,000 displaced. Then 2012, more violence. You see, the 2017 explosion of violence wasn't random. It was the result of decades of this pressure building and building.
And if there's one thing you need to remember from all this, it's this law. The 1982 Citizenship Law. This is the legal foundation for the entire crisis. It's the piece of paper that officially made them foreigners in their own land, simply by not listing them as an official ethnic group. It's what created this terrible cycle of statelessness for generations.
Okay, so that's the history, the politics, but what does it actually mean for the people? What is the human cost of all this? Let's take a look at the reality on the ground.
Just let that number sink in for a moment. 1.13 million. That's more than the entire population of a city like Nagpur or Lucknow. And almost all of them are crammed into one small corner of Bangladesh. It's just staggering to even imagine.
And think about this. 95% of these people are completely dependent on aid. That means for their daily food, for a roof over their head, for basic medicine, they have to rely on someone else. They can't work legally, they can't build a future. Their day-to-day survival literally hangs by a thread.
And this is where they live. Cox's Bazar. Don't think of it as just one camp. It's a massive, sprawling settlement. 33 camps, all kind of bleeding into each other. Try to picture a city of 1 million people but built with bamboo and plastic sheets on hills that can collapse during the monsoons. That's their reality.
This chart really puts things into perspective, doesn't it? Look at the bar for Bangladesh, and then look at the others. While countries like India do host some refugees, the number is tiny in comparison. Bangladesh is carrying almost the entire weight of this crisis on its shoulders. You can see why they're pushing so hard for a solution.
So obviously, with a crisis this big, there has been a global response. But it's not that simple.
the whole effort is facing some really serious roadblocks.
I mean, you've got everyone involved. The Bangladeshi government, which is doing the heavy lifting, the UN with its agencies like UNHCR, so many NGOs on the ground providing food, healthcare. But it's a constant struggle, a real uphill battle for every single person involved.
And a huge part of that struggle is money, plain and simple. This chart is quite scary, actually. The plan for 2025 needs nearly $1 billion. But look, more than 60% of that is missing. That gap isn't just an accounting problem. It means less food in the camps. It means fewer doctors. It has a direct, real-world impact on people's lives.
And this is the heart of the problem, really. You have two different crises happening at the same time. In Bangladesh, you have a massive humanitarian crisis, how to feed and shelter 1 million people. But in Myanmar, you still have the original problem, a political crisis where the Rohingya who are left have no rights and no safety. You can't fix the situation in Bangladesh without fixing the problem in Myanmar first.
So, what's the solution? Is there a way out of this mess? Let's go back to that 7-point plan that was proposed at the UN and see what it suggests.
And this plan is really thorough. It's not just saying send them back. No, it talks about a proper roadmap for a safe return. It says we need international monitors on the ground, we need to build confidence, we need to pressure Myanmar to stop the violence, and importantly, it talks about justice and accountability. It's trying to cover all the bases, from aid to justice to security.
But here's the reality check. A great plan is useless if you can't implement it, and the hurdles are massive. The biggest one? The military government in Myanmar has zero interest in cooperating. They won't even talk about citizenship. There's been no justice for past crimes. And meanwhile, the rest of the world is getting tired and the funding is drying up. It's a tough situation.
So that leaves us with this huge question. We have the how, the plans are there, but we're missing the will. When the people responsible for the crisis refuse to budge, what can the rest of the world actually do to bring about justice? It's the question that everyone is grappling with.
Look, this is an incredibly complex and ongoing story, and there are no easy answers. If you want to dig deeper into everything we've talked about, we've created some detailed notes and a very handy mind map for quick revision. Just click the link in the description below to find it on our website. Thanks so much for joining me.